Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering human creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Lessons in Gratitude, a memoir on race, the arts, and mental health, published by the University of Michigan Press, is now available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Adrian Rodriguez, who serves as the Director of Community Engagement, Chorus Director, and Curriculum Manager of the Music Advancement Program at the Juilliard School. Adrian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I am so excited to talk to you. Obviously, Juilliard is one of our wonderful creative partners and also partnered with them relating to Sphinx and so on and so forth. And obviously, they are an icon and famed in our field and in our industry. And so one of the things a lot of times that we try to kind of dissect or interrogate on the show is what do people actually do in their roles, right? We kind of get titles, but what does it actually mean? So I was wondering if we could kind of just start there, right? Especially Director of Community Engagement, a curriculum manager of the Music Advancement Program at Juilliard. If you could just kind of help shape that out for us a little, what is that role and how do you view how you approach your work?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you probably gathered, it's a lot of work, but it's really fun. So I'm going to start really high level so that we can link it all together. I spent a lot of time thinking about the distinction between my work, like with a capital W, right? The thing that I care about, and my job, right? And my work has always been throughout my career about the advancement of young people, the flourishing of young people, and arts has always been the medium for that. And so I work for young people, and that mission work, I just happen to be employed at Juilliard, which is a wonderful place to do it. And so how that translates to my roles at Juilliard is I get to spend a lot of time thinking about the arc of the student as a young person, a preparatory student, 10, 12, 15 years old in our preparatory programs. And then as a college student and their experience at Juilliard, and then what we want for them afterwards and really what they want for themselves. So I'll break it down a little bit in that arc. So as a manager of curriculum and family advisement for the Music Advancement Program, my role is really about providing transparency about what is it to be a classical musician, right? So for young people, I am showing them curricular aims and goals and benchmarks and getting clarity from the faculty about that, talking about how to communicate that to young people, developing assessments that make that really clear, right? I think one of the challenges when you're stepping into the world of classical music is kind of the opaque rules of things. The relationship to a faculty member, for example, is a new kind of relationship for a young person and an important one in classical music. And then on the other side, I'm also advising families about how to support that young person. How do we activate resources, right? How do we support that child in practice? How do we encourage their artistic development? And so this is an important piece, I think, of young people advancing through the world of classical music.
And just for, oh, sorry, I was just going to say, just with MAP, with the Music Advancement Program, for anyone in our audience who might not know the focus of that, is there a kind of a, if you could just give the overall focus or scope of what the MAP program is at Juilliard?
Absolutely. Yeah, the mission of the Music Advancement Program is to foster and support communities that have been traditionally excluded in classical music, right, into the study of and hopefully the career of classical music in hopes of changing the landscape.
Awesome, awesome, absolutely. And so sorry, I might have interrupted you as you were continuing to kind of describe.
That's perfect.
Right, which is so, and it's amazing, right? And so also you kind of have this breadth of work that you do. And I know there's a number of people in our audience, for sure, people we've even had on the show, where they have to balance, right? Often in our world, you don't just have one title, you have a couple. And you often feel stretched, or just in your portfolio life, oh, I'm doing this teaching or this performing or this administrating, etc. How do you kind of approach that, and how are you when you are the director of community engagement? How are you when you are the chorus director? How are you when curriculum manager? Is there administrative ways that you kind of approach that you found to be successful?
Yeah, I would say that in my role with the music advancement program, that came really naturally to me because of the work that I did as a public school teacher. I was a public school teacher for a decade. And so that world of working with young people, talking with families, wanting them to grow, to get them to foster some level of commitment to their craft, not just compliance to their parents, right? That whole world of things, I lived in for a long time. And that is something that I work very closely with the administration, right? Our leaders of the music advancement program.
And by the way, I just want to reiterate that because I thought that came across so well, but trying to take them into commitment to their craft rather than compliance to their parents.
Right. A
So,
good
yeah,
picture. Good.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely. Just wanted to reiterate it for our audience. So, but sorry.
Yeah. And then as director of community engagement, that was the biggest lift for me, right? I'm 3 years into working with that office. And I'm very grateful for the mentorship that I've had at Juilliard, where there are wonderful leaders there who have taught me the importance of clarity of communication, developing relationships, keeping data, being able to storytell at different levels, right? Are we talking about data? Are we talking about qualitative experiences, right? This all dovetails with my own academic work. I'm a doctoral student, so I love data. I love storytelling. I love being able to look at that. So again, grateful for my mentors.
It's absolutely wonderful, and kind of balancing again the mentors versus the actual practicing that you're doing. The as For those in our audience, right, who are doing similar work, are there any trends that you're seeing, right? So you have this wonderful breadth across what you're able to see in terms of young people and how they're developing. Are there either any trends or current priorities that you have where you're either like, this is where I feel I need to be most vigilant, or this is an area that I'm seeing happen that's either positive or challenging? Just wondering any key things you're seeing across the landscape of your perspective.
Yeah, I would say from the institutional side of things, there is a very fervent commitment to taking care of the students, especially coming out of pandemic, right? There was a time, and we're still seeing the effects of it, right? Of socialization and focus, right? All of that stuff. Any person working with young people understands, even myself, right? So there is keeping tracks of different kinds of metrics, not just can they play well, right? But I love our student development team at Juilliard, because they have such a finger on the pulse of the well-being of our students. And that's so important, and starting to tighten the weave on the communication about that across academic affairs, across faculty, has been really an amazing thing to see happen at Juilliard. And then I would say, in working with young people, they have their own commitment to their well-being. There's something, the generation that's coming up, right? They have a very firm boundary around their mental well-being, their social well-being, and they don't let adults push them around. I mean, which I personally love. I was always a little bit of a rebel. That is the trend that I'm seeing.
Right, absolutely. No, it definitely is. And I definitely am hearing a lot of educators talk about that, and especially idealistically supporting but also then finding some challenges when it comes to certain aspects of their teaching where they may want to engage with a student in a way that the students just, no, I'm not engaging with you right now. And so it's very interesting, that balance. And so this is phenomenal. This work is incredible. Unfortunately, we are just about out of time. But I always like to ask of all of my guests, right? This is obviously so extremely rewarding. I love how you talked about how you work for young people, and that's so clearly your passion and your dedication. But there has to be, right, tough days where maybe you feel like you're unable to get through to a student, or there's a challenge that may seem at the moment unable to be overcome. What do you do as an administrator? Do you have any mechanisms or tools that help you through those toughest of times?
With myself, like as a personal practice.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I do think a lot about the challenges of students, right? And I think that our most difficult students, whether it is like in direct resistance to us or a difficult problem to figure out, right, call us to be better leaders. They call us to be better teachers, right? That's on us to do the creative work of being able to connect and understand and become acquainted with difference. And so my own personal practice is, I live for the small moments, right? The conversation I had with a student that they've grown or that they've considered something differently, or their whole world has been opened up down a path that they didn't understand or didn't even know was possible. In my work with the parents, the way that, they share, I didn't even know that I had grown that much as a parent supporting my student, right? Those moments are the things that sustain me because, there are ups and downs. It's never always going to be happy, but I think when I rely on what my capital W work is, right, and staying connected to that, I'm okay with the peace of things. Right, trying to stay peaceful in the ups and downs is an internal strategy of mine.
Adrian Rodriguez, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much for everything you are doing at Juilliard and far beyond. And thank you for being on the show.
Gosh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Just a heads up, everyone, that my new book, Lessons in Gratitude, a memoir on race, the arts, and mental health, published by the University of Michigan Press, is now available on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. I encourage you to check it out.